welcome back to the channel. You already know the title. We're doing a deep dive into the stories. But before we do, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps an interdimensional being out. So, um, getting into the mm, getting into the good stuff. What exactly are stories, and where do they come from? So, storytelling is essentially similar to turning experience into narrative. It's how humans go from, I saw a tiger today, to, bro, you should have seen the way that tiger that looked at me. It looked at me with hunger in its eyes. It was coming for me. Yeah, stuff like that. It's it can be for various reasons, like entertainment, education, survival, or to convince your friends that the fish you caught was actually like as big as a whole truck instead of a tiny little shrimp. But here's the truth: storytelling is universal. It's so old, it probably showed up right after the times humans figured out to argue or gossip. Okay, humans probably figured out how to do that stuff first. But it essentially just goes to show you how old storytelling is. It's basically humanity's first superpower. So just follow me. Hop into the Story Maniacs magic bus as we go back, way back, like over 3,000 years ago back. So we cut to cave wall drawings and hieroglyphics. We have so many places in this world that have many different kinds of wall paintings. Like in France, Lascaux, I believe I said that as Lascaux, Lascaux, La Chavaramumum, you know, Lascaux. Yes, I got it. My commune français. Oui. Um, Essentially, they Lascaux is well known for having some very large, good depictions of cave drawings, which is one of the earliest forms of storytelling. And they mainly depicted animals, hunts. They drew all kinds of symbols. They probably drew that one guy who never paid them back as well. This is all uh, one of the earliest forms of storytelling. Before words, cavemen were basically the first animators, if you will. Massive respect, massive respect. So essentially, storytelling is already gone through many mediums. The first one being the cave paintings. We even go far back and we see the hieroglyphics in ancient Egypt, and that is another way of storytelling where they will depict their customs and ancient um activities with their storytelling, with their hieroglyphics. Now, they also had another form of storytelling, one that you and I use all the time, and one that sort of using right now: oral storytelling. So, eventually, some time back, humans learned to speak more words than just ugh or simple grunts, and suddenly oral storytelling was born. This is where we get our myths, legends, poetry, our songs, chants, epic sagas, religious stories, fables, gossip. I'm not gonna lie, humans invented gossip immediately after being spawned. You can't lie to me on that one. Yeah. Um, we have epic tales like the Iliad and Gilgamesh. These were spoken long before they were ever written, and look at how far they've gone. Now, with oral storytelling, unlike the well, you see, oral storytelling isn't exactly set in stone. Huh? Huh? Okay, I'll leave. No, but actually, the main difference is oral storytelling relies on auditory communication, while cave paintings rely on the visual communication. Oral stories are temporary and rely on speakers' presence. Although we do have oral storytelling be passed on from generation to generation, sometimes this cause changes over time, but other than that, the original points remain the same. As I mentioned earlier, the Iliad and Gilgamesh are some of the greatest stories ever told, and they still exist today. And although they might have gone through some changes, overall they remain amazing. Even Aesop, if he existed, which he did, he was a good friend of mine, told me all the best stories. The original YouTuber, he had quick stories and amazing stories. Um, the thing is with stories, it's they go about the great thing about them is that they stretch across the entire globe. You see this thing, this little blue planet, this thing, this place with all you knucklehead expansitrons on it. Um, every single culture on Earth, every culture tells stories. The Native American cocktail fables, African griot histories, Greek myths, Norse sagas, Egyptian creation stories, Asian epics, Polynesian navigation stories. Humanity said we will never shut up ever, and that's beautiful. Although I wish most of you would, I wouldn't have it any other way. Humanity has found a way to integrate, to create cultures, to create wonders through the art of storytelling. We fast forward thousands of years. We go from cave walls to scrolls, to books, to movies, to animations, to video games, YouTubes, TikToks, and all kinds of other stuff that will follow in the future. But no matter the medium, humans keep telling stories because humans literally can't stop. It's like it's like it's in the patch notes, in the species patch notes, DNA code, all that kind of stuff. It's like storytelling is almost like an addiction, a one that can't be that one that you don't even realize you have. It's almost the humanity's addiction to stories is almost as large as my own. Me, the story maniac. Wow, competing for my throne, aren't you? All right. But then we then have to ask ourselves the question, all right, why do humans love stories so much? Well, because stories give you a great understanding of the world. Life is chaos. Let's not lie. Though many of us thrive in the chaos, we tend to often want to explain it, to understand it. And stories give that. It gives a certain level of structure that is craved by a sort of level of structure that is greatly craved. And honestly, that's amazing. It also feels empathy. Stories let us step into another person's mind, another world. It even teaches and through fables, many children learn, many children and adults learn morality, learn how to treat people better, how to understand people better. And it also helps the memory and life lessons. You ever tried getting a kid to pay attention in math class? Of course not. That stuff's boring. However, teaching children through the art of stories has always been found to be a great method for them to understand and retain. It's easy, even if we go back to the analogy of the early human ancestors, the best way the stories were passed down from generation to generation as a way to bond and to uh, essentially improve chances of survival. You tell stories of how this hunt went, how the gatherers are collecting these berries at one point, how the hunters almost encountered the jaws of a lion. It's was all told passed down through stories, and it also helps build a connection amongst people. This is how humans bond. It's why you tell your friends about your day. It's how families pass down traditions. It's why cultures survive. Stories are what has helped humanity come as far as it has today. Now, stories have played an important role in my life, and I'm sure in your lives as well, as they have helped shape each of us to be who we are today in more ways than we can ever realize. And some may ask, where do stories even come from? Well, that's what we've been figuring out. Um, they are the internal sources, like writers pull from people pull from their own life experiences. As I mentioned with the hunters and gatherers, hunters would go out and hunt. They would come back, retell uh, the events the events of their day, like where they found the antelope, the dangers they encountered. These make for great epic sagas and inspiration for many tales and stories of adventure. But then we have the gatherers who tell about their days, what they saw, what they observed, the type of berries they picked, the mushrooms they avoided because they knew they were poisonous. It's sort of like a living encyclopedia of sorts. And those are all real personal experiences that have helped create stories that we still have today. Um, we also have the stories that come from one's imagination. Sometimes you just think, what if a dragon set my landlord on fire? Would I not have to pay rent? Or would the dragon decide to then become my landlord and I have to pay rent to a fire breather dragon? Not much changes after that though, now does it? And then we have the subconscious. Dreams, emotion, random memories. Your brain is a chaotic story blender and it's always hyperactive. This is where many of the best stories come to life. And of course, we have external stories, external sources of stories. Um, this is where people see the stories other people tell. What was your great grandfather's life about? Like, what did he do? And it goes back to personal experiences as well, because instead of your own, your people are now realizing the experiences of their relatives, their family members, and all that kind of stuff. That's where people really deep dive in- into the into the world that they do not see. And that's what makes stories so beautiful because you are now hearing about a world that you have not even seen yet. And that goes back to fueling your imagination, your subconscious spirit. And that gets your creative juices flowing and it gets you to then imagine and try to figure out this new world you haven't explored yet, which then can motivate you to go out there and explore and then build your own experiences that you can turn into more stories. And that has been a major cause. That has been a major motivation for stories. That also led to history, the creation of recorded history, myths, and culture. Folklore, legends, famous events. Humans love remixing the past and all that to create even better, and to create stories that can be even better than the last. We also have stuff like news and current events. Half of modern stories start with I saw something wild happening today, and it instantly piques your interest. And that's what story is. We also have other media in modern times with books, movies, animation, music, everything influences everything. And that's amazing. That's beautiful. Now, some may ask, why do stories resonate? When stories reflect people like us, we feel seen. When stories show people unlike us, we learn something new. When writers share personal stories, we feel connected. That's why it's all amazing. That's why it's all great. Because stories help us learn, we help us grow, help us feel understood. can help us feel connected. Now, the deepest truth of all, every person on earth is a storyteller. We are all trying to understand the story of our lives. And when you understand that stories aren't just entertainment, they are how we live. They are how we learn. They are what makes us human.